Chapter 1 of Harry and the Wrinklies. Chapter 1 Gestapo Lille. The summer holiday, which was the best time of year for most children, was the worst for Harry Barton, or maybe the second worst. Christmas was really gruesome. The problem was his parents and Gestapo Lille, for the Bartons were rich, so rich that instead of staying at home like most parents, working and looking after their son, the Honourable Augustus and Lady Barton spent their lives travelling. They much preferred voyaging on ocean liners and staying in smart hotels to living in London. Harry did not want to go with them. He cramped their style. So while they sunbathed on yachts in Jamaica, skied at Cloisters and travelled to far Shanghai, he remained at home in their big house in Hampstead, which is a very expensive part of London. Every so often, to ease their consciences, they sent him a postcard or an extravagant present. Sometimes Harry received 2 in a week. Other times he did not hear for months. Twice a year or so, his parents turned up in London. They hugged him and spoilt him, and took him to theatres and fashionable restaurants. For 2 weeks, the house was full of parties and friends and laughter. But then, with kisses and expressions of love, they were off once more, and the big house felt empty and silent. To look after Harry, his parents had engaged a nurse, companion and housekeeper named Lavinia McScrew. She had come with the most excellent references, which was not surprising, since she had written them for herself. She spoke well, and was immaculate in her appearance, both facts which recommended her to her employers. Her hair was golden and coiled in braids at the back of her head. Her makeup was perfect. Her clothes were elegant. Her nails were long and enamelled, and her jewellery came from the best shops. She expected a high salary, which Harry's parents paid. What they never asked for was how Miss McScrew, a housekeeper, could afford such clothes and jewellery, which year by year grew more beautiful and costly. They did not know that money which was to be spent on Harry went straight into her pocket. They did not know that valuable ornaments and knickknacks from cupboards found their way into auctioneers and sales rooms up and down the country. Nor did they know, for Harry was too terrified to tell them, that she was a bully who ruled him with a rod of iron and kept a gold-mounted riding crop called Stinger locked in her room. At the age of 8, to his delight, Harry was packed off to boarding school. He was happy there. He made friends, he played games. The work was not hard. He enjoyed the rough and tumble. The first day of every term was the happiest day of his life. Why other boys cried he could not imagine. Yet always looming on the horizon like fog on a desolate island were the dreaded holidays and the return to Hampstead. Often he dreamt about it in the dormitory, and was woken by a friend or a kindly matron. "Are you all right?" they would ask him. "You were crying and shouting." "Yeah, it's okay," he managed to smile. "I was having a nightmare." Lavinia McScrew had looked after Harry for as long as he could remember. He called her Gestapo Lille. Anyway, late one morning, at the start of the summer holiday, Harry was summoned from his room by a noisy bell. To save herself the trouble of climbing the stairs when he was wanted, or even going into the hall and shouting, Gestapo Lille had adopted an ancient system. One of those boxes with tiny windows and discs and jangly bells, which used to hang in the servants' pantry, had been moved to Harry's bedroom. Whenever she wanted him, she just pressed the button. To Harry's parents, the idea was presented as a game. Hanging an affectionate arm round his shoulders, Gestapo Lille laughed as she described it. Harry did not argue, because she had 5 million ways of paying him back. But the minute his parents had gone, a code was pinned to the wall beneath the bells. Long rings and short rings. Wash up, set and light the fire, scrub the floor, dust and polish, hang out the washing, fetch in the coal, lay the table, hoover the stairs, make tea for Miss McScrew, clean the windows, and several more. This way she did not even need to speak to him, but she was always round afterwards, running her handkerchief along a ledge, examining the silver, hunting the hearth for traces of coal dust. Tring, tring, tring. Harry sighed. He did not need to consult the code. It meant, come immediately. Rising from his computer, he performed a ritual of rude signs towards the bell, then checked his appearance in the mirror. Although he longed to dress like other boys in jeans and t-shirts, Gestapo Lil insisted on a white shirt, tie and grey school trousers. Briskly he tidied himself up, ran a comb through his cropped fair hair, and started down the stairs. A stranger sat in the sun lounge. His hair was greying, and he wore a striped suit. An open briefcase stood by his feet. Harry thought he looked like a lawyer. Gestapo Lil stood by the window, perfectly groomed as always. She wore knee-length boots and a beautiful dress of green silk. From her belt hung a large bunch of keys and a silver knuckle-duster. Between her fingers was a black cigarette in a long jade holder. In each ear was a single emerald. About her throat hung a necklace of shark's teeth set in gold. "This is Mr. Rook, the solicitor," she smiled. "He has some news for you." Harry switched his attention. Yes?" The man set down his sherry glass. "You are, He shuffled his papers. "Eugene Augustus Montgomery Harold Barton." Harry glowered with embarrassment. "Yes. Well, the fact is, young man, I've got some rather, how shall I put it, boy? To a boy your age, you see, your parents are dead." Gestapo Lil said plainly. "Both at once. Your father and your mother, dead as doorknobs, and he's come to tell you." Yes, I suppose that is the gist of it." Mr. Rook took a fortifying sip of sherry. "The precise circumstances aren't fully available to us yet, but as far as we know at present, Harry never heard what they knew at present. His parents were dead. It was an odd feeling. He should have felt a terrible sense of loss. He realised that, but he didn't. He hardly knew them. When it came down to it, they were strangers, people who had simply popped into his life, hugged him like a puppy, given him presents, and then popped off again. What had happened to them, details of the accident, Harry did not discover for many years. Of more immediate importance, what, he wondered, as he stood looking out at the sunlit garden, was to become of him? "One suitcase, that's all," said Gestapo Lil. "You heard the solicitor. It's all got to be sold, and that means your toys and clothes as well as the house and furniture." It was a week later. She stood by the window in Harry's bedroom. This day she wore a white leather suit and smoked her black cigarette from a long ivory holder. Stinger was tucked beneath her arm. "No, you can't take your skates, nor your computer. Have some sense. How could you put a computer in your suitcase? Nope, nor your football signed by that team of yours. Somebody will pay money for that. Let go of it. Let go. By heaven, boy, you're asking for a smacking. Come back here. Do you want me to? That's more like it. Put it down there with the rest." Harry flung down his treasured football and glared at her. "And you can take that look off your face. Don't blame me. It's not my fault you had two spendthrift, improvident parents who wasted a fortune on high living. I'm the one who should be crying. 10 years of my life I've wasted on you. And what have I got to show for it? Nothing. Your father promised me I'll be taken care of. Leave it to me, Lavinia," he says. "We know the boy is safe with you. We know he's in good hands. I'll see you're properly rewarded." And what happens? He ups and dies bankrupt. Bankrupt! Him and your mother both. Dead as coffin nails, dead as hedgehogs, not a button between them. Nothing but debts. And don't tell me the pittance he paid me was reward enough for all I did for you, the cooking and cleaning and washing and nursing. Now I look back at it, I must have been mad to give up a good career for that." Harry stared white-faced as the torrent of words washed over him. "And how often were they here? How often did they come back to see their darling boy? Twice a year. That's how much they cared for you. That's all the break I got, twice a year, while they filled the house with parties and dirty dishes and champagne all over the carpets. Swish friends from Scotland and Newmarket, the smart set from Chelsea, then off again, and I'm left to clear up the mess. No, I'm not exaggerating, sir, not one bit. It wasn't you had to put the house to rights after they'd gone, like a million it was." It was too much to bear. Harry ran at her, slapping and punching. "Oh, Master Spitfire, fly at me, would you? We'll soon put a stop to that little display of temper." She snatched Stinger from beneath her arm. Stronger than Harry and 15 centimetres taller, she grasped him by the arm. The leather riding crop smacked against his leg and the seat of his trousers. "There! How would you like a taste of your own medicine? It'll be the day when you get the better of me, little savage." Furious, his bottom stinging, Harry retreated to the side of the bed. Gestapo Lil hooked the golden riding crop on her belt beside the knuckle duster and a big bunch of keys. "Yes, I've done my duty, but no more, never again. Once I've packed you off to those ancient aunts, what do you call that place? Lag Hall? That's it. I've left the suitcase on the landing. You can do your own packing." Harry looked through the door. "No, not one of the new ones. That battered old thing's good enough for a penniless orphan brat like you, and no putting your best clothes or toys in the bottom. I'll be checking before you leave, and your pockets. You're in my charge until you get on that train. Then let your decrepit relatives in the country look after you. I just hope you show them more appreciation than you've shown me." She adjusted the zip on a white crocodile boot. "But don't think this is the last you'll hear of Lavinia McScrew. Oh, no. Those precious great aunts of yours, I reckon they've got money. Lag Hall sounds like a big place. I want what's rightfully mine, and when the time's right, I'm coming to get it. You can count on that." She inserted a fresh cigarette into the ivory holder and struck a heavy gold lighter. Harry recognised it as one of his mother's. "And you see how you like having nothing, not a penny of your own, dependent on everything, on the generosity of other people, their bed you sleep in, every shoelace, every bit of bite of toast. You better watch your P's and Q's, because those antique aunts are all you've got. If it wasn't for them, you'd be in a home." Harry stared at her. She blew a cloud of smoke and walked to the door. "Now start packing."